So, Samir, can you tell us about the key players involved in the meetings going on in China?
Well, last week China had seen two high-profile visits. One was from the Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, who just got recently elected, and it was a historic transition of power that took place in Pakistan. So this was his first foreign visit to China. And secondly, we had a visit from the Indian Defence Minister, Mr. A.K. Antony, to China. This visit was also important because it was the first time in 7 years that any Indian Defence Minister had been to China. So those are the two key players who were in China at that point of time last week.
What are the most important agenda items for India's visit?
Well, for Prime Minister Sharif, the crucial agenda was the securing the Chinese investments as well as other sorts of economic assistance, because as we know, Pakistan is currently facing a lot of economic problems. Its current account deficit is very low. Its foreign reserves are also staggeringly low. So the key objective of Sharif's visit was also to get the Chinese investments, and the second item on his agenda was also to look at get some sort of assistance from China in the energy sector, because as again Pakistan is also facing a lot of energy crisis which is affecting its economy. For Defence Minister Antony of India, the key objective was to enhance the military engagement between the two countries. This is a challenge given the fact that his visit is coming right after the incident which happened in Depsang, in which the Chinese troops came 19 kilometers deep inside the Indian territory. So enhancing the military engagement is a key challenge for Minister Antony.
So tell us about Depsang. Why was it so important?
Well, Depsang came at a point of time when in the last 2-3 years we had seen a relatively stable progress in the India-China bilateral relations, and suddenly the Depsang happened, which was kind of a rude shock for the Indian policymakers. This was the first time that the Chinese troops came so much deep inside, 19 kilometers inside the Indian territory. Of course, we have seen the regular territorial violations from the Chinese PLA troops of the Indian territory, but this was by far in terms of the distance covered by the troops in the Indian territory, this was the most serious violation that was undertaken by the Chinese. So in that sense, the Depsang incident was, I would say, a kind of a watershed event for the India-China relations in the recent times.
What are the joint programs that India and China do together? But more importantly, are these meaningful exchanges and so forth?
Well, I will specifically talk about Minister Antony's visit to China, and as I said, enhancing the military engagement was on his agenda, and so far what India and China in terms of the military engagement, what they are doing is we have an annual exercise which is called Operation Hand in Hand, which is kind of an anti-terrorism drill which is undertaken by both the militaries. That started in 2007, but it was suspended in 2009 after the visa controversy came to light, when the Chinese refused to give visas to the residents of Jammu and Kashmir, saying that it is a disputed territory. So that exercise stopped there. And then we have these border meetings taking place between the troops on both sides. So those are the two kinds of military engagement that we have. What India and China should do, and which will eventually help to mitigate the mistrust between both the countries, is that there should be enhanced interaction not only in terms of the border meetings but also enhancement in terms of the military exercises. They should also have institutional exchanges happening at the level of the military supported think tanks like IDSA in New Delhi and the National Defence University in Beijing. And what they should also do is to enhance the frequency of the visits by the ministers themselves. As I said, this was the first visit by an Indian minister in 7 years to China, by an Indian Defence Minister to China in 7 years. So we need to enhance the frequency of these visits. That in a sense would help us to mitigate the bilateral mistrust to some extent.